pork belly. Wilson's stepbrother, hello. My position is here. Hello. How are you? I mean, when I say serious side of Kanara, I don't mean that I'm like, you will do that. I mean, I don't get like that. I still laugh and I still smile a lot, but there are certain things that there is no hedging on. There is no substitute for. And if you don't have certain things, then you cannot safely can. So it is a lot about food safety today, and of course preservation. So we're gonna, you came to the right kitchen. I got some Bob's Burgers, Burger of the Day recipe cards in a loot crate. Oh my gosh. Oh, that'd be interesting. We should compare recipes, like give me the titles of like 2 of them. I think the book goes up to season 8. I don't know if it goes up to season 9. I was gonna say, isn't can? You know, so if you go rogue when you're canning, yes, canning can be very dangerous. It can be deadly, as a matter of fact. But if you follow safe, tested recipes, and I mean follow the recipe exactly, you're going to be fine. And then and I'll go over signs that you can look for and things that will show you. Hey Dan, how are you? 4th Room Brewing in the house. What? So you guys, if we do, Cerise, can you do exclamation point Oktoberfest for me? I'm working with Dan and Ingrediology, Logan, Irish Kate, and we are doing Oktoberfest boxes. They are doing Oktoberfest boxes. I'm an ambassador to help sell these. Why isn't that where? Oh, it's with a C. It's not with a K. I know. I'm gonna get a lot of flack for that, and thank you. I know. Hang head in shame. I should just copy it and make another one with both of them. So if either one are used, so maybe I'll do that. I'll do that after stream. These are fun. These are gonna be fun boxes, guys, and it's a reward. You know, because you get to make the pretzels and enjoy the pretzels. And it's actually gonna include mustard that I help them develop the recipe for the stone ground mustard. But the biggest part about this is when you buy these boxes, all the proceeds that they're making on these boxes is going back to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society that helps come up with cures for these horrible blood diseases, and also helps with treatment for people who are affected with leukemia. Dan's wife is undergoing treatment right now. So we are doing this in 100% support, guys. So if you go to that link and buy one of those boxes, they're shipped here in the continental United States. You're going to get all the ingredients except for water. You have to have your own water. And there's one other ingredient they have to have, Dan. I don't remember. The boxes should hopefully be here shortly. So I'll actually be able to show you guys the boxes. You can actually see the boxes. And there's stickers in there. I mean, come on, who doesn't love stickers? You know, they all say that kids love stickers. This gal loves stickers. I like stickers. Butter. Got to have that butter. You got to say it like that country. Got to have butter. But it's a wonderful, wonderful thing, because then we have the cook along on October 3rd. So there'll be ample streamers who are doing their boxes that you can tune in and watch. You can tune in and go along with Logan and Dan and Irish Kate. And as they're doing theirs, you can actually see it happening. So while you're doing yours, it's like, okay, so mine should look kind of like that. And it does. Great. And if it doesn't, hey, ask a question, and happy to help people. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a pretty neat thing. Duna! Stickers. Don't we love stickers, Duna? I love stickers. I love stickers. No, I can't say that. Never mind. Okay, no. Okay, get it out. Okay. I was going to say something totally different. I'm like, no, I'm not doing a stream. I can't say it. Duna was playing this really fun game in her stream last night called Dub, What the Dub? And they show like old movie clips, and it says like part of a line, and then they erase what the next line was, and then the people who are participating have to put in what they think the line was and make it their own thing. And it could be outlandish, which of course none of them were outlandish in Duna's stream. A lot of fun. Yes, we need to control ourselves. I know. I tell you guys, I'll tell you right now, when I am not streaming, I am a different person. When I am not talking to the public, anything I do that's to the public and and doing outreach or just presenting or whatever, it's day and night. It is. Dub in the tub. Yes, she's doing her own hot tub stream. And that overlay, by the way, is adorable. I love that. Absolutely love that. Mostly wholesome Kanara. Yeah. It's kind of, it's kind of like the, I should have like a mask where I love the naughty Kanara. Stop it. Stop it. No. Oh my gosh, I just realized I can't have anybody come over to the stream and see that. Oh, okay. I was doing something here. I was getting out a measurement here that I needed. So real quick, remember when I told you guys regarding salts? And I want to talk real quick about salts. When you're canning recipes, you want to be using canning salt that is specifically designed for canning. And the only difference between this and table salt is table salt has an anti-caking agent in it to keep it from doing this. And that anti-caking agent can make your brines cloudy, whether for whether for quick pickles or it's jars. The reason why it's called canning, okay, brief little history on that, and I'll make this very brief. I have a whole PowerPoint presentation I could actually do on this if anybody ever wants to see the history of canning. The reason why it's called canning is back in, I wish I had the exact date here, 1792 I think it was. So add rice, no rice to canning of anything. No rice, no noodles, no milk, no bread, no cream, no butter, no high fats. Anyway, a lot of stuff you can't put to a jar and can. But back in I think it was 1792. I don't have my exact dates. Anyway, when Napoleon Bonaparte was doing his march across and conquering a lot of Europe, the small cities and villages that they were going through in no way, shape, or form could sustain his massive army. We're talking small, little villages that may have had 10 oxen and some chickens and a couple of pigs, and that's about it. And he's coming through with 1,000 people. So he put out a reward for 10,000 gold francs. I think it was 10,000, might have been 20,000 gold francs at the time, for somebody to come up with a way that they could carry a lot amount of food and not have it spoiled during the journey and not deplete the countryside. So we have Napoleon Bonaparte to thank for our modern canning techniques and things that we have now. So, and I can go through that. Betty said 1793. She was there. Can't can my bread pudding. No, you cannot can the bread pudding, but it freezes really, really well. And it freezes best if you wrap it in saran and then wrap it in butcher paper wax in. So it will actually freeze up very, very nicely. So in canning, the one thing, I was measuring this out. I wanted to talk about salts here. Let me break this up. So when they talk about canning salt, 1, 2, 3. Oh, son of a gun. Do that. Set that there. 0 out. Salt is an extremely important ingredient in canning. This is your preservative. This is what's helped keeping bacteria at bay. So when you get a recipe that calls for X amount of salt, you must use X amount of salt. You cannot take that recipe and turn it into a low sodium pickle recipe. So you have to actually use that amount of salt. So here's the difference on this. So I'm going to get this out of the way. So canning salt, I have got dill pollen everywhere because I've got all this fresh dill sitting over here. And my house smells like dill. It's wonderful. So canning salt, like I said, is the same as table salt. But it's going to weigh differently than table salt because remember, table salt has the anti-caking agent added to it. And because of that, you have to do like for like in weight. So 3 tablespoons of canning salt weighs 50 grams. I prefer to use grams, the metric versus imperial. But in recipes, sure ships use a little bit. Salt is very heavy. Yes. Well, it's a mineral, so it's they're like I mean, when you see, well, and when sea salt is harvested from the ocean where the water comes in, and they actually will then block the water and allow it to evaporate, and then it gets raked up. So when you're using salt in a recipe for pickling, you have to use the exact amount of salt it calls for. So if it calls for 3 tablespoons of canning salt, you can substitute kosher salt. However, you have to go by weight. So if you don't have any pickling salt on hand to actually weigh it, so 3 tablespoons of canning salt weighs about 50 grams. 3 tablespoons of kosher salt weighs about 44 grams. That's a big difference, when you're adding salt, because you don't want to oversalt your dish, right? So what you have to do is you have to get your kosher salt up to 50 grams for it to be used in a recipe. But understand that your brine may get a little bit cloudy, okay? So I don't want people to sit there and go, oh my gosh, my pickles are looking, like the brine is cloudy. Have they gone bad? So there's questions you have to ask yourself. One, and if we're talking cucumber pickles, one, were the cucumbers washed sufficiently prior to being canned? So we're going to put them into a sink with a lot of cold water. We're taking a scrub brush and we're going to scrub the outside of those pickles. We're going to cut off the blossom end. Remember, about 1/16 of an inch. You want to cut that blossom end off. That's going to help keep your pickles from getting mushy. You can use, there's a ball of stuff called Pickle Crisp that you can use, Pickle Crisp. I like to use, and I went out and picked these this morning. I have a whole bunch of them. I went out and picked grape leaves. So I will be adding, I'm going to be cutting these down. I'm going to put these in the bottom of my jar. I'm going to add grape leaves to the green beans to help keep them a little bit crisper. These have tannins in them. Now the main thing about the tannins is what a lot of people, let's go way back in the day when we used to can our pickles. They did not remove the blossom end of the cucumber. They just put the whole thing in there. Even had like a little bit of the stem so you can take them out of the jar nice and easy. And because they didn't remove the blossom end, the pickles would get soft because the enzymes, even after being put into a water bath, continue to work to break down the product and tell the product, hey, I'm old, it's time to soften up, but the vinegar is keeping bacteria at bay. So they would top them with grape leaves, and the tannins in this would help the enzymes not break down in the cucumbers, thus making the cucumbers soft. Really effective when you're doing fermentation. So if you're doing a crock of fermented pickles, grape leaves, you put these all on top. It helps keep the pickles below the brine, which is critical. And then those tannins release, and it helps keep your pickles nice and actual crisp. An army size, oh yeah, when you got people that big going through there, I've never heard of those, I had to look it up. Oh wait, never looked at what? My mom used to wear her own chacos. Oh, used to can her own chacos. Yeah, what are chacos? Chocos? Cocos? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Oops. Okay, wait, I lost my, there we go. I need to make sure my stream elements thing was that second. They're a gourd family. Some squashes you can a lot of squashes you cannot. So, and of course modern science catches up with itself, and we learn more things about canning than we ever knew before. So some of the things, I'm going to come over here, that you need to have for when you're canning. I don't know if you can see the stock pot here. I don't know if the camera, it's like right here. This I'm going to have my brine in. So this is going to have my vinegar, my water. Most pickles, quick pickles, now these are pickles, when I say quick pickles, we are going to clean, whether it's the green beans, the carrots, the cucumbers, make a hot brine. We're pouring the hot brine over the pickles, making sure over the cucumbers and vegetables, making sure the head space is correct, and we're going to talk about that. Putting on our 2-piece lid, and then we're putting them into a water bath canner for X amount of time. Each vegetable is different on time. So that's what's called a quick pickle. Now, what most people think of as quick pickle, and particularly chefs today when they're making their meals, is taking their cucumbers or their onions, putting them into a bowl, a little bit of vinegar, a little bit of spices, and letting them macerate, and that's quick pickling to them. And that's what unfortunately, a lot of people think of when they think of quick pickle. So when I get people who call in the hotline and they're talking to me about their pickles, and first thing I have to ask them was, did you do a fermented pickle or did you do a quick pickle? No, I did the kind that you can. So you did a quick pickle. No, I didn't slice them up and put them into a bowl of vinegar and just let them sit on the counter for an hour. I actually did the whole process. And so they're not understanding it. So I wish that there was a different name for when chefs make their little quick pickles for dishes, their little artisan pickles or onions or garlic and stuff like that. But quick pickles or quick pickling is hot brine poured over said vegetable, put into a jar, and sealed via a water bath canner. That is a quick pickle. A fermented pickle is a pickle that is put into a crock with water, salt, and maybe a little tiny bit of vinegar, not a whole lot of vinegar, because we don't want vinegar to kill off all the bacteria in there, because what we need to have happen is lactofermentation. And when lactofermentation happens, and we're adding a little bit of sugar in there as well, it eats part of the carbohydrates, pulling the moisture out of the pickle, and causes lactic acid, which is what keeps our bacteria at bay. And we're adding garlic, and we're going to add some dill to fermented pickles as well. And then you've got those nice, wonderful kosher dills. Now those you don't have to can. You can, and you want to stop the fermentation process, you put them into jars or a big crock. You can put them in your refrigerator if you have a root cellar, someplace where it's really cool. And then you've got your pickle. So you've got some wonderful, wonderful stuff. Bulbasaur feet, hello, 1-800-PICKLE. It's not a pickle hotline, but it is a food preservation hotline here in the United States that's run by the state of Oregon. And my county and a sister county share the hotline. So that's live, I think went live this week. Oh, matter of fact, no, today's Wednesday. They have the hotline for today. Oh wait, we have it this afternoon. Who's on this afternoon? Oh dear. Huh. Jane, are you in here? What? Why isn't my alerts going off? Claire, I don't know why my alert didn't go off. Claire Coffee, thank you so much for coming in with your raid and your family. That is absolutely wonderful. Raiders, welcome in. I already know you had a fantastic stream with Claire because I was watching her this morning. I was over there hanging out. It's Belgium National Day. I love that waffle iron that you have, Claire. Oh my gosh. So I had to instantly get on because I've got my little waffle iron. I don't make like a lot of waffles, but I wanted to see more about this. That's only available for you guys. What's up with that? I mean, come on. I just absolutely love that. The fact that that one had all those different plates to make the wafers, the real thick, beautiful, fluffy Belgian waffles. And she eats her waffles. She likes to eat her waffles like I do. I mean, you take them right out of the waffle maker with just a little bit of butter on them. Oh, that is like, it's almost as good as fresh baked bread. I mean, I'm telling you, that is just good stuff. It's an EU special. It is. Raiders, if you guys could do me a huge favor, I would greatly appreciate it. Right down here is my logo where I'm laughing, because I was just having a really good time that day. I was actually at a wedding, probably had 2 glasses of wine that I shouldn't have had, but whatever. If you can click that logo and come back directly, and it'll bring you right back into my stream, and that way the numbers help my numbers, I would really appreciate it. Or you can refresh your browsers. Yes, that takes the RAID URL out and puts you directly in here. So today, for those of you in Europe, your canning is going to be a little bit different than the way we do it here in the States. If you guys are interested in learning how to can and do stuff there on the EU and stuff, do let me know. I forgot to, if we do, I think I have my new one in there. Hang on. If you do !menu, I'm talking about, we're making dilly beans today, which is pickled green beans. They are so good. We're also going to do some carrots, and I'm going to start curing a pork belly because I smoke my own bacon. I don't buy bacon anymore. I actually smoke my own bacon. And my Discord link is in there. So click the Discord and follow the Discord. And if you have questions about canning products, fermentation, dehydration, freeze drying, anything that has to do with home food safety and food preservation, I'm your gal. It's what I do. It's actually my job. So we're gonna cover both things. At least I love what I do, right? I truly love what I do. And I have this camera here because I want to show you some of the equipment that you're going to need to can. It's not all where you have to have it, but some things are very helpful. So ladle, obviously to ladle our brine that we're going to be putting over our vegetables, that's incredibly important. This is a funnel that's designed specifically for this, because you can take a ladle, you can take a ladle and you can put it over this, but you can see that you have a chance of spilling over there. Whereas if you put this in here, see how much wider that makes it? So now when I pour in here, I can actually lower this down and pour it in, and I don't have the splashing. So this is just a mason jar funnel. It's got the, oops, I keep forgetting, it's got the wider hole. Really good for filling baggies as well. Spoon, simple thing right here, but sometimes you might just need just a little bit more brine in that jar, and you don't want to have to, it's the queen of, I need like a little scepter. This is going to seem like the most bizarre thing. A measuring spoon, and measuring cups. It's like people are like, we don't need measuring spoons and measuring cups. Yes, you do. When you are canning and preserving foods to keep them, make sure they're shelf stable, you have to follow the recipe exactly. Okay. So, and for those who just came in with a raid, this is the serious side of Kanara, because when I'm teaching, I go into total teaching mode. But we still laugh and we still have a good time. This is a jar picker upper, because when you have to go pick those jars up out of there, it's they're very, very hot. So this is what you bring in down here. You squeeze, it allows you to lift the jar up safely and put it over to your, you want to put them onto tea towels for them to cool down. This little gadget right here, you don't have to have this, because I'm going to show you how to do it on your jar. So this is so this is a 1/4 inch, a 1/2 inch, a 1/4 inch, a 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, and an inch. So when recipes call for head space, and they say, okay, be sure to leave 1/2 inch head space. A lot of people think that's from the bottom of the jar here up to here is a 1/2 inch head space, and that's not the case. You're going to pack your food in here, and the head space is from the top of the food product, the brine, the jam, the tomatoes, whatever your product is, from the top of the product to the top of the jar is what you have to have for clearance. Foods have different clearance levels because food expands at different ratios. Some things, beans for example, so pinto beans, black beans, navy beans, garbanzo beans, they expand a lot. So we leave a full, I believe it's a full inch headspace for that, to allow for that to expand, because it's going to expand up, and they're going into a pressure canner. We're allowing for that to expand up, and we don't want it pushing on the actual lid portion, okay? Some things want 1.5 inches headspace, particularly meats will want 1.5 inches headspace. Luck, how are you? Welcome on in. Lovely, lovely to see you. Happy Wednesday. I almost forgot what day it was today, so happy Wednesday. So that is, oh no, never mind. I just realized what's happening with that phone. Never mind. Okay, it just went ding, ding, ding in my brain, so I had to pause for that and think about that. So you might be wondering, why do we have a plastic knife, an old plastic knife on here? Obviously we're not cutting things with it, and you can use the opposite end of this. And this is what happens when you put things into a dishwasher. Can you see that? It's like all benty. Oh wait, I never know what camera I'm on. It's all bendy. But what we need to do is, once we put the food in here and we put the brine in here, there's a lot of air bubbles all through there, right? So we're going to take this and we're going to kind of push it down there and just kind of push a little bit, kind of wiggle those air bubbles. We want to get as many of those air bubbles out as we can, because the timer, when we start the timer, when we put this into the water bath canner and we bring it up to a boil, we're not going to bring it up super fast. We're going to bring it up to a boil. It's going to be a happy boil, not a rolling, freaked out boil. That timer you hit start on the timer. So for our carrots, it's 15 minutes. So once it comes to a boil, 15-minute timer starts. So the calculation is based on the volume of carrots, the volume of liquid that's in the jar. When the boiling process starts, which means the jar is now getting hot and it's all going through, oh, I got to put those into a big pan. What's going to happen is then that time of 15 minutes is what it takes to vent out the 1/2 inch headspace or the 1/4 inch headspace of air. We're venting all that air out, because that air is what helps bacteria grow. So we need to vent all that air out. We need to heat the product up. We need to get it to 212 degrees, and then we need to vent all the air out. We need to provide enough acid in the form of lemon juice, in the form of salts, in the form of sugars, to bring them up to be actually safe. Oh yeah, my oven, that's a 1934 Magic Chef. Normally I do everything on there, but I can't can on there because I'm using a Camp Chef stove here today. This is my camping stove that I use. The burners on this thing are this big, right? The burners on that thing are like this big. For me to get this pot halfway full of water to boil takes like 45 minutes to an hour. It's just nuts. So I bring in my camp stove, and it works quite well. It works very, very well. Hungry wolf is in the house. Vent it, baby. Vent it good. Do 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 do. Oh, my stove. Well, thank you. I think she's pretty cool too. Her name is Lady Bell Blue. So she's a workhorse. I've used her for years and years and years. I have not had her since she was brand new. I'm not quite that old. She's 87. I'm not. So, insofar as canning, here in the States, we use a two-part lid system. So we have the flat part of the lid. Now, a lot of people here in the United States, oh, thank you so much for those bits, Joe. I appreciate that. I don't know why my alerts aren't going off. Do I have my alerts turned off? What the heck? Let's find out. Let's find out. STR. Okay. Let's see if I can figure out why my alerts are not going off. The alerts, where did they go? Where are you, little alerts? So let's see, does this work? Okay, so that's there. Maybe if I just keep that minimized. Okay, so let's do, can we do this? Wow, none of my alerts are working. What the heck? That's crazy. Oh, Joe with more biddies, thank you so much for that. I don't know why my alerts aren't working. Did I turn them off? Oh, wait a minute. No, there they are. Oh, wait, I don't think what if I turn these on and replay? Would that do it? No. I don't know why the alerts aren't working. I know that when I turned on my OBS today, it had to do some big update. So I don't know. Now, for those who are just here, actually for my regular family, I don't know if you guys noticed something new on the screen. Oh, Joe, thank you. I appreciate that. That's very nice of you to say. That does my heart good. That does my heart very good. So we're gonna get this over here. So this is actually this is my teaching outline. So I'm gonna go the Spice House. Yes, so I'm really, really excited. So now if we do, oh my gosh, Joe, thank you. Thank you very, very much. That's very generous. You can sit on your hands now. You can sit on your hands now. Lori, I did. Hang on. Well, I got to cover up I got to cover up the name and the address. But yes, I did. When do you want me to do that? And hello and happy Wednesday to you, by the way. Please cover. Yes, I know. I have to cover. We have to cover everything nowadays. There's just some people out there in the Twitch troll realm, which are just now. Okay, gosh, don't yell at me. I'll do it now. So Lori was very kind. I have no idea what's in here, but we're about to. Oh, it has a little pulley thing. Don't I have scissors here? I do have scissors here. Some bags have little pulley things. Some bags don't. Okay. I don't have my trash can over here because I have my camp stove here, so I have to keep walking back and forth. We gotta get some carrots going. Ooh, I see something red. Look at this, guys. Oh, well, hang on here. We're gonna take this off too. Oh my gosh! Wait, how do I unfold this? How do they fold this? This is crazy. You guys, look at this. Okay, hang on. Wait, what do I have? I I got my tissue in there. Wait, hang on. I'm gonna move this over here. Wait, I'm stuck in my apron. Oh, I'm stuck in my apron. I forgot you guys probably can't hear me because the Okay, so I'm gonna pull this one up. There we go. And now everybody will know where I'm from too, because I get a lot of people who ask, where are you from? Where are you from? I'm from the USA. I'm from the USA. Okay, we're gonna just tighten that one up a little bit more. Oops. Go this way. Wait, I can't do this behind my head. There we go. There we go. I am Kanara. Lori, this is fun. Thank you. I love aprons. I love aprons. I took a the one I'm working pork slab later, so I didn't want to put on the one that Culinary Rewind made for me. I took it to work the other day because I had to show the people at work. Look at this. Okay. Okay. Whew. There. Can you hear me a little bit better now? Is that a little easier to hear? I am Kanara. When you forget your own name, you only have to look down. If I look down, I see Aranek. Oh my gosh, Lori, this is so cool. There we go. I am Kanara. So if anybody wants to know who I am, bam, right across the chest. Oh my gosh. Oh my, this is like, okay. And of course, you and Culinary Rewind both know my favorite color. Boom, red. I wonder why. I wonder why. I don't know. Oh, you know, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. I've got my green one over there. That red one I've had for many, many years, the other red one. That was one my daughter got for me. Oh my gosh. Before we moved up here, I think I've had that one on for, and it's really good when I'm working with like a lot of hot stuff or if I have to be lifting pots because it's a real heavy canvas one. So, and aprons are not just to protect you against stains. It's also to help protect you against burns. Real easy to come over here and use handles to, use your apron to pick things up. That's, you watch your grandma, she'd pick up her apron and she'd use it to pick up a pot or hot bowl or something like that and move it over. So aprons are very, very versatile and they're for everybody. And when you're in the kitchen, if you're out doing something out in the garage even, when I pick blackberries, I wear a double layer apron that goes down past my knees. And I wear it all the way up to here in a long sleeve shirt because blackberries love to attack. They're trained to attack and kill. But if I have on this full length apron, man, I can walk in and actually push the berries back so I can get to the other ones. So yes, I love it. I love it. Okay, you go run, you go do what you gotta do. I'm gonna put this over here and get this out of the way. Well, I haven't even started anything. I probably should get this brine going. So we have two classes of pickles, okay? So we already talked about that we have quick pickles and we have brine pickles. And the long fermentations take anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks to ferment your pickles, to have them be like those nice big kosher dills. One of my coworkers wears a double apron, front and back of, yes. Rusty, hello, how are you? Look at Rusty, look what I just got in the mail. Lori 62, Kanara, USA. Can we get a shout out? Oh, there, Culinary Rewind's already all over it. She is already all over that. So what's a reason why we would want to make pickles other than they are darn tasty, right? I mean, most people love a good pickle, but preserving is extremely important. It's a skill that a lot of people are losing, which is a shame. But here was something that popped up yesterday. So yesterday, I only use Facebook to advertise my streams and let people know, and family, that I'm going live if my mom and dad want to pop in. Oh, Rusty, thank you for doing that for her. Trashy rhymes. No, you are not. No, you are not. So another good reason to preserve food. Okay, first of all, you know exactly what's going into it, right? If you grow your own garden, you know those are your tomatoes, your beans, your carrots, okay? So you know where they came from. They didn't come from another country where you don't know what pesticides are or are not being used. Some U.S. farms that are located in other countries do still follow rules and regulations, but we do have some farms that we buy from. that don't have the same rules and regulations. So you got to be careful about that. So one, you know exactly what's going in there. But what popped up on my feed yesterday, when I sit there thinking, well, good thing I've got a lot of my stuff that I'm working on and getting done, is Kroger, which for us here is called Fred Meyer. I think it's Kroger on the East Coast. Do you have Kroger's, Rusty, over there? We call them Fred Meyers here, but Kroger's is like the grocery chain, and they own a lot of different type of grocery stores. Well, the truckers are going on strike, which means nothing's going to be delivered to the stores, which means there's going to be a shortage of food on the shelves again, just like what happened with COVID and everything else. You've got Kroger's there, okay. So it's good to start preserving food. You don't have to maybe do it on the scale that I do. A lot of people say, oh, Kanara, I could never can the way you can. That's okay. Find something that you really like, that maybe grow just one thing. Maybe you just grow tomatoes. Maybe you just grow snap peas. Maybe you just grow strawberries. Boom, you can make your own jams. And then making your own, it takes time, but you'll spend a fraction of the cost and you get a much, much better product. When does the strike start? Last I heard, it's supposed to start Friday. But and they may negotiate, because I guess the negotiation stalled on Sunday. So all negotiations stopped on Sunday. Everybody walked away from the table. So I would hope that they would understand that people, we need our grocery food. I understand, if the truckers aren't being paid, what they're supposed to be paid, or if it's staff employees, I can't remember. It might also be employees who are also walking. But I think Ralph's grocery store. I think Ralph's is Kroger. Is Albertsons Kroger? I don't remember. Wow, it's already empty? Yeah. So that's another reason to be preserving your own foods, okay? Right now, lids are hard to come by because nobody wanted to work. So Ball was supposed to double up on their manufacturing of the lids, and nobody wanted to work. So we still have a huge shortage of lids. By the way, if any of you, I don't have a box here. Oh yeah, I do. I think I have one in here. No, it's not in that one. I don't. If any of you have access to the flat lids by Ball, wide mouth or regular mouth, and you guys are able to get them, I will buy them from you, because I gave a lot of mine away because people were desperate. I would have people call the hotline and say, I just bought 60 pounds of tuna and I can't find any lids, and I've got the tuna came in today. And I'm like, meet me at the office, and I would just give them lids, because I don't want them to lose out on 60 pounds of tuna because they couldn't can it because there was no lids. So, and now I'm low, and I'm starting to do my canning, and I'm like, oh man. So you have to remember, for truck drivers 4 years ago, they were like, we don't need them. Now the country, I'll tell you, truck drivers, I don't know why people are like, well, they don't. It's like, how do you expect to get your food, people? How do you expect to get any of your product? Don't just, I don't know. It's frustrating. Do Ball lids only come in one side? No, they come in, I think do I have a small one over here I can show you? Yeah. This is not one I can actually use. This is what's called a regular mouth. Regular mouth can be seen. Regular mouth is all half pint jars are regular mouth. This is a pint jar, wide mouth. Okay, so when you're packing big products, wide mouth, you want to have the room to be able to pack the stuff in there. But they also have a regular mouth pint size, and it has shoulders, so it comes up like this, kind of goes in and gets more narrow, and that does have it. Quarts, always wide mouth. And half gallons always wide mouth. So there's only 2 jars sizes that are going to have the regular mouth. So you can see the difference. Oh my gosh, James Sessions, thank you so much for that sub. I appreciate that. So you can see the difference in size, regular, wide. I'm sorry I'm flashing this. I know it's reflective. So I can bend them down a little bit. So you do have two different actual sizes of lids. Chris Hangry, did I just see you walk in here? Did I just see you walk into my kitchen? I did. Hello, how are you? How are you? Jam session, I really appreciate you doing that. That's very, 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 very kind of you. So our lids here in the U.S. is a 2-part lid. This was done by Mr. Mason, who actually died penniless in New York because Kerr is the one who actually took over. So No worries, just glad to be here. I'm glad you're here. So you have to have the two-part lids. So I did a video on YouTube back in 2018 called Always Check Your Jars. And that went viral in 2020 with over 2.5 million views. The biggest question were when I tell people that when you get done canning, I have my corncob jelly over there. When you get done canning, your product is in here, the tab has gone down, because these have these little tabby things. That's how you know your jar is safe. If this is on here snug and you can't pull it off and that tab is down, the product is safe. If that tab is raised or you hear that hollow sound when you tap on it, this jar has been compromised and now contains a lot of bacteria. Don't have to throw away the jar, but you want to safely dispose of the contents. You can sterilize the jar and reuse. Oh my gosh, we're close to a hype train? Good heavens. Joe! Joe! Oh my gosh, Joe, that is very, very, very generous of you. Now, about sitting on those hands. So Derek, remember I had the alerts working great before stream started? Bloop, they're out. I walk away for 10 minutes, stop working, don't know. I don't know. So the two-part lids, let's go with the jars. So on the jars, you want to make sure there's no visual cracks, right? You don't see any like fractures or cracks on the bottom. And run your finger around the top. You want to make sure there's no nicks or anything on there. Oh my gosh. Furball coming in with a 6-month sub. Jeez Louise, you guys. You just get me all flustered. I don't remember what I'm talking about anymore. And I've got to get the pickle, I've got to get the green beans going so we can work on the pork belly. Oh my gosh, you guys, you guys are just fantastic. So not only do you want to check your jars, but you also need to check your lids. On these lids here, we're going to come over here. On these lids here, this is a PBA free compound. So your fruits, your vegetables, your brines may come up and touch this, okay? But this is the sealing compound, and you want to make sure it's solid all the way around. The fake lids that are coming out of Amazon right now, activate chat distraction, poof. Oh, you guys. Okay. You don't want to see like tears where this has been like torn up and bent. And these will start to get, they'll start to degrade after a couple of years. So here's going to be an interesting test. Joe, Karmic Bob. Oh my gosh, you guys. Chris Hangry coming in with bits. It's raining bits. I should get my umbrella out. I need to come up with a sound of like marbles hitting like the top of an umbrella and make that the sound of like the bit sound. If I can get my alerts working again, which I hope they will eventually. Karmic Bob, you guys are just absolutely fantastic. So inside our lids here, who stole my rusty pen? My rusty pen is always in this drawer, which means it's probably in the spare office when I was writing some stuff down. Okay, I'm gonna try and stay focused here. You guys are killing me with this. You guys are killing me. So inside here, this inside ring here, which is actually this part here, okay, on the opposite side, is pushing down on the top of this here. And that pressure is pushing this compound, as this compound heats, onto the jar. Now, it's not going to stick to the jar. It's not going to stick to the jar prior to the jar starting its cooling process, okay? Because things are very hot. As this is boiling, and you'll see the bubbles. When I take tuna out, it will boil. It'll be sitting here on the counter boiling for 30 minutes. You'll see the bubbles boiling. And during that time, air can still be venting out of the actual jars themselves. So when you put this on here, a lot of people think, oh, water's going to go in the jars, but it doesn't. So the air is still pushing out, and then as it cools, the vacuum's created, and that's when you hear that ping. Pings usually happen the soonest on jams and jellies, which only require a 1/4 inch headspace. Things like tuna that require 1.5 inches, they process for a very long time, so the air gets really vented out. It can take a little bit longer, but some jars can take 24 hours to seal. So don't panic. Don't panic. I was thinking panic, and I read vented. So don't panic if your jars don't seal the minute you take them out of, I am not food, the minute you take them out of the jar. So we're going to go back to these lids here. So these lids, you can have rust. If you have rust on the outside of your lids here, that's okay. All right, that's not going to hurt you. But if that rust, I'm going to show you, this is a bad lid. If that rust gets inside, I'm hoping you guys can see, let's turn it this way. Where is the bad rust? Oop. Can you guys see the spots up here and over here on the top of it? Can you guys see that spot right there on the ring? Chris, thank you so much for that sub. Woohoo! Look at that, hype train. I'm trying to find the camera view on here. Okay, so let's see if you guys can find, let's do, hopefully, okay, that's a good one. Do you guys see that spot right there on the inside of that lid? If you have rust on the inside of this lid, don't use these lids for canning. And the reason why, the rust that starts to grow inside there is making microscopic divots in the aluminum lid. And that, so when you need even pressure all the way around, if there's a microscopic divot here or a microscopic divot there, it's not getting full even pressure, and thus your lid's not going to seal, and you're going to get a compromised seal on that. So just make sure that the inside of your rings are clean. If you get a little bit of rust on the outside, like we had this one here, has a little bit of rust on the outside, that's totally fine. You don't have to worry about that. Okay. Fermented pickles, we talked about the fermented pickles. Fresh pack or quick pickles. Now quick pickles, you can also do one of two things. You can just put the cukes in and pour the brine over them and let them go. But I do recommend that you soak your cucumbers for 12 to 24 hours in pickling lime. And you can do it in your sink and just let them sit in there overnight, and you're going to rinse them really, really well, and you're actually going to get a much crunchier pickle. How often can you use those lids? Because I have some jars that have those tops. These lids here are one and done. So once you can with it, and then you know, 2 weeks later, you pop open a jar of your pickles, pop open a jar of your jam, pop open a jar of your tuna, beans, or whatever. You can leave the lid on there to keep it, you know, from drying out inside your refrigerator, but then pitch it. These lids are one and done. Chris, oh my gosh. It's done because sometimes it uses, well, it doesn't necessarily use it, but it becomes compressed, and you won't get another clean seal afterwards. And you don't want to put these in the dishwasher before you do. You don't have to simmer these. Back in the day, we had to simmer these for like 5 minutes, and that would soften up the compounds. Now you just wash them with soap and water, and then they're actually ready to go. Sometimes I'll reuse my lids for storage. You know, so if I've got like mason jars in here filled with beans, rice, and stuff like that, and I will put a mark on my lid, like I put like little, you see the little X's on there? That means I can't use this ring. This ring is compromised. If I can't use this on here, I'll just put a slash on. I know I can't, this is an old lid. I wouldn't be able to reuse that lid. Bits cost more on mobile, so I went to PC. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so then the other thing is I don't recommend putting jars in the dishwasher. Now, if you want to heat them up, because we're going to heat up our jars before we actually use them. If you want to use your dishwasher to heat them up and just run a sanitized cycle through there or a quick rinse, don't put any of your dishwasher dish soap in there. Just the hot water. That's fine. But I don't recommend putting these in your dishwasher after you're done with your product and you think, oh, okay, I'm cleaning up dishes, whatever, I'm done with that. I'll stick that in the dishwasher too. Dishwasher detergent is extremely caustic, and I'm going to show you. I don't know if I have any of those old glasses. Well, that was not doing it. So I got rid of all my icky old glasses. But you know, have you guys ever had glassware that actually starts to get cloudy and foggy? And a lot of times people say, oh, put it into some vinegar. That's your hard water stains on there. And if the vinegar doesn't take it off, it's not hard water stain. It's like your glass is now etched from dishwashing detergent. When we used to cook our pots, I'd take pots to get the stuff off the bottom of them, into a giant pot with like cascade boiling water. We stick our pots in it and boil all that stuff right off the bottom. So we don't recommend you put your jars in. Just, wash them by hand. So, soap and water, wash them by hand. If you are processing anything for less than 10 minutes, so jams and jellies are only 10 minutes, only 5 minutes. Anything that is processed under 10 minutes, you must sterilize your jars first. We want to boil these for 10 minutes, and you can use the water bath canner to boil them in. If you are processing anything over 10 minutes, just wash them, hot soapy water, rinse them really well, and keep them hot when you're ready to use. So long as they're in the water bath for 10 minutes or longer, you're going to be fine. You don't have to worry about actually doing the sterilization process. And I still have an argument on that, and I've been talking with our PhD on campus with regards to that, because the thing when they say you have to boil the jars for 10 minutes, and this is, we're taught our critical thinking. Oh my gosh. Oh wait, we just got a little doggy thingy? Oh, choo-choo hype hide. Thank you guys for that hype train. That was very fun. I appreciate that very much. Woo-hoo. Come on, ride a train, a choo-choo ride. Come on, ride. Okay, so anyway, so back to my whole thing with regards to sterilizing the jars. So we put the jars in the water. We let them boil for 10 minutes if we have to sterilize them. But you didn't tell me to sterilize this. And I'm using this to ladle jam into a jar. I'm using this to ladle brine over pickles. You didn't tell me to sterilize my measuring spoons, because I'm putting in 2 tablespoons of lemon juice into my tomatoes and whatever. So I don't know. Pull cat in the hen house with that one. Pull cat in the hen house. So everything I do, I process 10 minutes or longer. Even if my jellies say 5 minutes, I do them 10 minutes. If like the dilly beans that we're getting ready to do here, we're going to actually do carrots first. They're going to take 10 minutes, so I don't have to worry about those at all. All right. So our carrot recipe, 3 books. There's only 3 books I recommend for canning. Well, 4, because this one's they have the newer one out now. So this is the Ball home preserving book. This has meats in here, jams, jellies, vegetables, you name it, it's in this book. This is one of the books that we use quite a lot. There is another Ball complete book of home canning that has a blue cover, okay? If you guys have the one that has the blue cover, and you have the one that's prior to 2019, 2019 back, there's only one change you have to make. So they have a new updated version, because we went back to them and we said, I have no idea what he's doing over there. Okay, are you done? Okay. Eating a big old bag of crackers or something. So the one that has the blue cover on, it's a really pretty book. It doesn't have meats in it. It's just jams, jellies, chutneys, pickles, that type of thing. But the change you have to make in there if it's prior to 2019 is the book called in some recipes fresh lemon juice, and other recipes bottled lemon juice. The confusing part was the ones that were requiring bottled lemon juice were for safety, to acidify the food, to make it safe once it was done canning. The ones that were requiring fresh lemon juice, it was just for flavor or to keep food from discoloring, like pears, okay? So that caused a lot of confusion, because we were getting calls on the hotline saying, well, I didn't have bottled lemon juice for my tomatoes, but I had some fresh lemons, because the last recipe I did of canning my pears said I could use fresh lemon juice, so I just used that in my tomatoes. Am I okay? And that caused a lot of confusion. So they updated their book, and now it says use bottled lemon juice throughout. And bottled lemon juice is a 5% acidity. So this is one of the books that we recommend. Let me get that out. I got to put my name. This is the other book that is through Ball. And I really like this book. The reason why I like this book also is because it has recipes for how to use your canned products. So, you make pickled green beans, and you're tired of just eating pickled green beans. What do you do with them? Put them in your potato salad. Put them in deviled eggs. They're fantastic. So fresh preserving is done by Ball, and their site is freshpreserving.com. It is the only .com webpage that we recommend. All the other .com, granny something canning wizard or whatever it is .com. Yes, I will have all these in the Discord. I will have all these in the Discord. So if you do !menu, it talks about what we're doing today, but that has a current Discord link in there as well. All the other sites we recommend end in the initials .edu, which is short for education. So Oregon State Extension, EDU, and the National Center for Home Food Preservation, which is through the University of Georgia, and they are the So Easy to Preserve. There we go. So this is through the University of Georgia, and they are, I think it's uga.nchfp, but if you just look up NCHFP, National Center for Home Food Preservation, you will find that. Keen, hello! Love your face more. Thank you so much for that resub. Pickled herring, I do have recipes for pickled fish. I do have recipes for pickled fish. So in this book here, we are doing our pickled carrots, and we're going to start with that one. So pickled carrots, you can do carrot sticks, you can do carrot discs. I am doing baby carrots. And these have already been peeled, they've already been washed, and I took them out of the refrigerator a while ago because I don't want them ice cold because it's going to take longer for them to come up to temperature. So again, we are following the recipe. I know that a lot of chefs, a lot of home cooks, we like to modify and change things to make them spicier, to make them sweeter, to make them more savory, to add a unique ingredient that makes them different. These recipes are tested based on several factors. One, the size of the product in the jar, the amount of liquid in the jar, the viscosity of the two combined, and how the heat affects and how the water and air and temperature circulate to make sure that all of the product reaches a certain temperature for a certain amount of time, because we don't want botulism to grow, right? Less fishy. You know, and I've had several different types of pickled fish, but I'm not a fish person. My daughter ate a lot of fish when she was in Sweden, so she had a lot of different pickled fishes. Derek, hang on, let me get him to get his phone. Your phone's ringing. Can you put that on silent? Probably says potential spam call. Been getting those a lot lately. So on our pickled carrots, we are going to need 2 1/4 pounds of carrots. We're going to need 5 1/2 cups of white vinegar, 1 cup of water. So you can see the ratio already. A lot of vinegar, right? Very low acid food. A lot of vinegar. We want to make sure it's safe. 1 cup of water, 2 cups of sugar, 2 teaspoons of canning salt, 8 teaspoons of mustard seed, 4 teaspoons of celery seed. So 2 1/2 pounds. So each one of these is a pound. Each one of these is a pound. So we need 1. And this is going to make about 4 pints. So if we did 2, I'll do half of one of this. So we're going to do 4 pints. So that brings me to, so we're going to get all of this out of the way now. Oh, remind me to talk about headspace. Somebody don't let me forget to talk about headspace on the jars. So this one wants us to have a 1/2 inch headspace. Why don't we just do that now before we forget, okay, Kanara? That's a good idea. Man, she's amazing. I know. That's what she does for her job. Sorry. Okay, so we're going to come over here to this camera. And if you can't see this, please let me know. And I'm going to take off my glasses because it's a lot easier for me to see. So, and I have one here that I marked, so hopefully I'm going to show you the one that's here. Where's my pen? Again. Oh, here we go. So these are the tines on the jar. These are, when we put the jar on, that's what locks this jar into place, okay? Or locks that lid into place, excuse me. So here we have tine number 1. Let's do this. Is this one easier to see for you guys? Is those lines easier to see? I can't see that screen anymore because I don't have my glasses on, so I'm blind as a bat. So if you guys have to let me know if this is actually focusing into where you guys can actually see these lines. So we have tine number 1. We have the top of the jar here, the very top of the jar, tine number 1, tine number 2, shoulder, and then there's a mark, there's like a little line down here below the shoulder. It does? Okay. Am I close enough to the camera to where you guys can see it? I can tell with either, yeah. Okay, that's good. I know you guys probably see it a little different than what I see on here because you guys probably have a fuller screen. So where the end of tine number 2 meets this tine here. So we're looking at, this is the line that we're looking at, okay? This is the direction. I should have marked that down. At the bottom of this tine, not at the tine, not at the top of the tine, at the bottom of this first tine right here is 1/4 inch. At the bottom of this tine right here is 1/2 inch. At this shoulder is 3/4 inch. There's very little it requires 3/4 inch headspace. But the 1 inch head mark is this line that's underneath this shoulder right here. There's actually a physical line. You can actually feel it too. There's a physical line. That is the 1 inch mark. So if I have something that says, pack your tuna into your jars, leaving a 1 inch headspace, it means I'm going to pack tuna from all the way down here, all the way up to here. I am not going to go past that line that's there, okay? I need to make sure that I keep that full inch headspace to allow for the expansion of product. So in this case, our carrots wanted, what was it I said? Leaving a 1/2 inch headspace. So our carrots, whoa, I just almost fell over the counter right into your all's lap. Nobody offered to catch me. Thanks a lot, guys. So when I do the carrots, I am not going to go above the bottom of this tine right here. I have to keep it at that 1/2 inch mark, okay? Does that make sense for everybody so they understand what headspace is in the jar? That you don't have to use one of these little fandangle, these come with like canning kits. And I'm sorry, when I'm filling jars, I don't have time to sit there and go, okay, yeah, that one, okay, that one's good, that one's good. I want to be able to quickly look in, and I don't have to, you can look at them. You can still see there's going to be your 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 1 inch, or 3/4 inch, 1 inch. Yeah, the threads and shoulder tell all. So then the question came up with somebody who didn't have a jar picker upper to be able to get their jars out of the water. So most of your water bath canners So let's talk about a water bath canner. Water bath canner is just a large pot that can hold at least 4 quarts of liquid. So 4 quarts of liquid, you're not canning a whole lot with 4 quarts. And when I mean quarts, I mean the actual physical jars, actual quart jars. If it can hold 4 quart jars sufficiently to cover with 1.5 inches of water, that is a water bath canner. Now, if you're doing only 2 little half pints, you don't need to get out your giant water bath canner. But this is also good for making tamales and big batches of turkey noodle soup and chili and lots of other things. So I always say, get yourself a good stock pot. But you need to have a sufficient room to have the jars be able to have hot water circulating around them and be able to cover the jars, because things that are only boiling for 10 minutes, you're not going to evaporate out a lot of the water. But if you have things that are being processed for 45 minutes, you're going to boil out a lot of water. So you've got to make sure that those get 2.5 inches of water, so evaporation, because you can't have it come down to the top of that jar. Sticking your hands in hot water is a bad idea. Yes. So most of your water bath canners come with these racks. So these are racks, and you have to have a rack on the bottom of the canner. Some racks might just be a flat disc that sits on the bottom, and that's what your jars set on. But you do not want to just set your jars on the bottom of a pot to can with. They're going to get bounced, and they're liable to crack, and then you've wasted a jar, and you've wasted the product and the time that you've put into that jar. So having a rack allows for ample circulation under the jar, so the water is getting hot, and the water is circling around all the way around the jars, on the bottom and on the top and on all the sides. Now, if we're just doing, and we're only doing 4 pints today, so a lot of times, so then you lower this into the jar, and then people are like, well, the water level's up. I can't get to those jars if I don't have a jar opener. So these handles are here, and if you have all the jars there, the handles won't fall down. But if you only have a few jars, the handles may fall down. Just take a wooden spoon, just kind of lift them up. And then I use pot holders. You can use those little silicone clampy things to grab this, slowly lift it up, make sure it's completely opened up, feel it, make sure it's not going to drop back down, and now your jars are up out of the water. And you can use, I have silicone gloves that I use for the barbecue to pull off big roasts, and you can pick those up, and when you take them out, sometimes there might be water on top of the lid. Don't dump the water out. Remember, that seal hasn't quite sealed yet, and by doing this to get the water out, you've now taken the contents, force it against the lid, which can actually cause seepage, and now your jar may or may not seal, okay? So just take them out and put them on. I'm gonna stack them over there. I've got a tea towel out over there on my countertop. If you have a wood countertop, I recommend putting down at least 2 folded towels, because these are super hot, particularly if you've been pressure canning, because they get up to 240 degrees. They'll leave rings on your counter. Granite, I'm not worried about it, but I don't want to put the jars directly on the granite. That's cold granite, hot jar, boom, it can crack the bottom and pull it out. You do not want to cover your jars. You don't want to put a tea towel over the top of them, but you don't want them next to like a wide open window where there's a breeze or next to a fan. You just want them to sit out, acclimate, and we're going to talk about the different timings as we go through each step here. Granite could crack. Granite can crack, but I've been canning for a lot of years. And I've taken pans right out of the oven and everything else and have it. Simply Asian. Hello, my dear. How are you? Happy Wednesday. So these racks are extremely handy to have in there. I'm going to get this filled up with. Now, I'm only doing 4 jars of carrots, right? Well, 4 jars of carrots in here, and one of these wants to lean over. Well, then, as you can see, let's do, well, you know what? Let's do it like this. Let's do it like this. You guys can see this. So if you only have 4 jars in here, we have a lot of room. They can fall over, and if the boiling gets to be too crazy. So I will put empty jars, and they'll just be filled with water. No lid, no ring. I'm not canning the water. Although if you have a pressure canner and you want to do something cool, we'll talk about that. I'm putting the jars in here to support the other jars and to keep these from falling over, so I can quickly grab these and pull these out. Ingrediology, hello. Hello. Granted, I'm not worried about it. You guys are silly. Now these, like I said, are being processed for 10 minutes, so I don't have to sterilize these jars. I am going to get them here in the hot water. Well, I'm going to fill this with some hot water. Should probably get that water going and get that water hot. And then we're going to talk about our pickles. Let's see. You know. See, this one's doing the rounds. Oh, here we go. Pickled baby carrots. Using 8.5 cups of peeled baby carrots, leaving them whole. Same processing time. I check the recipes every single time before I get started. Every single time. My books don't change, right? And if my books do change, when I see new publications and things coming out, I get new books. Did we get a shout out for Ingrediology? We need a shout out for Ingrediology. You guys, Logan is a gentleman I was talking about with him and Fourth Room Brewing, Dan and Irish Kate, who were doing these super duper cool Oktoberfest boxes. So we can do, thank you, Culinary Rewind, yes. So if we do exclamation point Oktoberfest with a C, not with a K, I will fix that. These are those, they're going to be neat boxes, guys, and it's a neat cook along. For St. Patrick's Day, they did the Guinness brownies. Oh, so thank you so much for that. Yes, Zanuck, I am here. I am here, Zanuck. I'm here to answer your questions. Heck yeah. I appreciate that, Logan. That's very nice of you to do that. Most people, like me, like right before stream, sometimes in the morning, I've got to come in here and especially for my canning stuff, I have to make sure. It's going to be a blast. It is going to be a blast. And I'm really hoping, now Dan I know said that if we sold all 150 boxes, that he will wear his Fraulein dress when he runs his marathon. Yeah, I want to see that. But you need to get some lederhosen, Logan. You need to get some lederhosen to wear with the t-shirt. Just saying. Just saying. You need to get some. So let me get this thing over here filling. This is a big, big pot for me to have to fill. And I want to get my lids. Let's put those and cover those up and put those over there. So this, I'm going to fill this up to make sure, remember when you're filling this up with water, I'm probably only going to have to go up to here with water, because when I lower these down, some of these will be filled with water and the other 4 will have the carrots in them. But the weight of this is going to raise that water level. But if it doesn't, I have to be ready to add some water, make sure that comes all the way up to the top. He'll wear it on Stream the Day Up. He said if someone donated $5,000 in one dono to LLS, he would run them. Oh my gosh. Okay, I need to win a lottery, like post haste. Like post haste. So these, we're going to fill 4 of these. I've got to get these cooking here, because we're going to put these inside here. So we're going to do 8.5 cups, which is going to make about 4. So I'm going to do, let's see, 2. That's pounds purchased. 8.5 cups of peeled baby carrots. I guess I better measure those out, shouldn't I? But the reason why I read the recipe every single time is because we forget over time. We may think we remember, but we forget over time. And this is something you don't want to guess with. It's better just to take that moment and make sure that they are exactly what they should be before you get started. Look over your carrots, by the way. Sometimes the carrots aren't real pretty. I'm also going to get rid of some of the real rinky-dink ones. Matter of fact, I just saw one. And the reason why, I want them to be uniform. You know, if we give these away, you want them to be pretty. So some of these may have an ugly end on them, but there was a real little itty rinky-dink one in here. There it is. Really? I mean, that's not a baby, that's a preemie carrot. So I'm just going to eat that one. Oh, these are super sweet. Be very cautious lifting hot things of water. Sorry. But I am going to get this heating up. All right, Camp Chef stoves. Do not use a turkey roaster for your water bath canning or for your pressure canning. You will buckle the bottom of your pressure can or your water bath canner so fast your heads will spin. This tastes like really, really good. Okay, so we need 8.5 cups. I remember this one's going to have a lot of vinegar. Oh, there's another ugly one. Now, if this was something, all right, backing up here. If I was processing these for under that 10 minutes, the one thing I would have done before I started any of this was my hands would have been thoroughly washed with soap and water. But because these are being boiled for a long period of time, I'm going to get rid of the ones that are cracked. They got like a split in them. I'm not as concerned, but remember, you're going to a lot of time to make canned food. A lot of it's just downtime. You know, this will look like, after you watch the stream, you'll think, that took forever to can carrots. Why would I ever do that? It doesn't take that long. It's a very fast thing. I'm just sitting here yammering on with y'all. So yeah, these that are split, these that have these ugly splits, those aren't atrophic. What the heck? Ones that are like broken and icky, I'm taking all those out. I'm not throwing them away. I will eat them. I will eat them. But some of the ones that are in here are just, I'm taking off the little green, sometimes you'll still see little green stems, the carrot tops. And that is what rabbits eat, people. Bugs Bunny, he just crazy. Bugs Bunny, cray-cray. Baby carrots, by the way, guys, are not baby carrots necessarily. Look at the split on that one. Look at that one. Whew, that's cavernous. Most baby carrots are the carrots that were not pretty enough to send to the grocery stores as whole carrots or to put into the bulk bags. They're the ones that weren't very attractive, and they go into that one's not even peeled. They go into a spinner, which shreds all the outer skin off of them, and then they all get tumbled down, and they're all cut to a certain size and tumbled to represent a baby carrot, but they're not necessarily baby carrots. There is your weird fun fact for today. That's what scares me. Why I like them the most. So this is almost 8 cups. And what I'm going to do is these. I already have a sink over here filled with hot water. And I'm just going to put 4 of these jars in there to get them hot. Because these carrots are going to be cooked in a brine and then ladled into the jars. And what we're doing is that we're tempering the glass a little bit to kind of bring the glass up to temperature. Mason jars are tempered at 2 different things. So mason jars are only designed for what's known as wet canning, whether it's through a pressure canner or through a water bath canner. Mason jars are not intended to be put into your microwave, nor are they intended to be put into your oven. So if you're doing that, stop. Just stop. Stop with the madness. Yes, Kavera, I will have a copy in my Discord. I'll have it under the recipes for the carrots and the green beans. And I'll have my bacon cure in there as well. We're curing almost 12 pounds of bacon today. Or starting the curing of the bacon today, and hopefully that'll be done. So that is almost. I forgot to get my sugar out. Y'all don't mind if I step into the pantry to get, that looks like a thumb. Wow. Yeah, there's another split one. Get rid of that one. If they have like a little tiny split in them, I don't care. But if they're split all the way down the side, I don't want to use them. I'll just use those for snacks. Snacks. I'll tell you, some of these baby carrots are kind of scary looking. Kind of scary looking. All right. I love, one of my favorite snacks that I absolutely adore is carrots and hummus. Absolutely carrots and hummus. Oops, that's gosh dang. All right, so that looks like it's right at 8. I'm just gonna put the rest of these in there. But we know from our recipe that this should fill approximately 4 pints. So if it fills more than 4 pints, if I have like, oh my gosh, I'm getting 6 pints out of it, that means I measured wrong. So we're going to put these here. So these we're going to bring up, we're going to get our vinegar out. So vinegar. So this particular recipe is calling for white vinegar. Some recipes call for apple cider vinegar. The 2 vinegars, so long as they're 5% acidity, are fine to use, and they're almost interchangeable. White vinegar has a harsher, more acidic flavor than the apple cider vinegar. Are all vinegars equal? No. So we have, I had it sitting right here. Here we go. This is a Bragg's natural, let's do it like that. This vinegar here, this is not guaranteed to be 5% acidity. Oh, Queen Goddess, hello. Lovely to see you. I hope you're feeling better. If not, just put the volume on low and just sit there and rest and just listen in. Listen in softly to my voice telling you how to can carrots and green beans. So if I want to pickle fruit, do I use, yes, so pickled fruit would use apple cider. A lot of your other pickles and stuff will use white vinegar cider. But we're going to talk about, and I talked about this once before on stream, Heinz apple cider vinegar. This is probably the one that we all know, right? This is probably the one that everybody uses, whether we buy it in a jar or you buy it in the big gallon jugs for pickling and stuff. It's also good for barbecue sauces and everything else. So, Heinz ingredients. Distilled vinegar from grain. Well, most vinegars I know are made from apple peels and apple cores. Okay. So distilled vinegar from grain, natural flavor with caramel color. So we're adding the flavor of the apple cider, diluted with water to a uniform pickling table strength of 5% acidity. This is not apple cider vinegar. This is white vinegar with stuff put in it. Very disappointed in you, Heinz. Heinz, don't call me. Don't call me, Heinz. This is the cheap brand of apple cider vinegar. Essential, there's other different cheap brands. So let's look at this one. So this one has apple cider vinegar. That's it, apple cider vinegar. It has been diluted because when they make commercial batches of apple cider vinegar, they actually make them at 10% acidity. So they dilute this with water to bring it down to the 5%. So one, it's not gonna be harsh for us to consume. Higher grade vinegars are usually used for disinfecting, and it's usually white cider vinegar, not apple cider vinegar. So that Heinz apple cider vinegar is not apple cider vinegar. It's vinegar made with grain, not apple cider. Bad, shame on you, Heinz. You are a huge, huge company. I've got some extra apples on my tree. I'll send them to you. Make apple cider vinegar. I was just, Robbie coming in with the biddies. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. Yeah, look at the difference in color. Look at the difference in colors, guy. Fake, real. Is that mind-blowing? I only have this because I have this left over from a long time ago, and then when I found out, when I started reading labels, read labels, folks. Read your labels. Okay, so we need 5.5 cups of cider vinegar, and well, these are the eating ones. Put the eating ones in there. These are the other ones are just getting filled with hot water. So white cider vinegar is vinegar. But I'm doing very well. How are you doing? How are you doing this lovely Wednesday? We're making some pickled carrots. So there's 2 cups. There is 4 cups. And let me tell you right now, air circulation when you're making pickles is your friend, because vinegar can be very caustic and can actually get you to start coughing. 5.5 cups. So there is 2, 4, 5.5. We got 5.5 cups. If you go over a little bit in your vinegar, that's all right. You're not gonna. So vinegar on this one here, this is the one you want to drink. If you're going to drink vinegar, this is the one you guys want to drink, okay? This is the one that has the mother in it, but dilute it with water. This can taste really, really harsh. So do it about 2 parts vinegar, 1 part water, but give a little bit of dilution to it. I make with that vinegar right there, oh gosh, it's way back here. This is one of 2 jars. This is fire cider. This is made with that brag. You can see the mother in there. Look at that swirlies. Can you see all the swirlies in there? This has ginger, green onions, jalapenos, habaneros, turmeric, mustard greens, you name it. That gets fermented for like a week or so. Okay, gotta move all this stuff out of the way because I gotta get my sugar. Whew. Yes, everything I have in there is in 5-gallon tubs. Everything. If I'm here in Germany or summer holidays, so I'm home. Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely. Burned my stomach lining away. No, don't burn your stomach lining away. That'd be very, very bad. All right, so there's our 5.5 cups of vinegar at 5% acidity. We are adding to that 1 cup of water. Might as well use hot water, right? We're going to be heating this all up anyway. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and get this. We're going to get this going here. We're going to add 2 cups of sugar. Remember, we are following the recipe exactly, folks. We are not. I have so much stuff out that I have it piled on top of each other. So 2 cups of sugar. Do not reduce the sugar. Sugar is also acting as a preservative. We're not going to reduce the sugar. I don't need the sugar for the dilly beans though. That I do know. Canning salt. We're going to do 2 teaspoons of canning salt. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, I have them all laying out. These are level teaspoons. These are not heaping. These are not concave. These are 2 teaspoons of canning salt. I'm going to show you guys some dill here. 8 teaspoons of mustard seed. So if you guys do exclamation point spice, or it's exclamation point spices, I think it's exclamation point spice. I was, thank you, Zanuck, I appreciate that. You guys are like all over it. So if you guys enjoy buying spices, so the Spice House has been around since 1957. I have ordered spices through a lot of spice companies. I used to order through Pinsey Spices. I have ordered through Savory Spice. They have one particular spice I can only get through them, so I will still order through them. But their prices have always been the best, and the quality has always been phenomenal. So I was really happy because I talk about this company so much. So now I am part of their team, and if that is the link there if you guys want to order spices. Their flat packs always ship for free, which is really kind of nice because I don't like paying shipping on anything. So 8 teaspoons of mustard seed. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, can you go less on the spices? Yes. Spices are not for safety. Spices are for flavor and for seasoning. So when you make a batch of something out of these cookbooks, out of any of these canning books that I showed you guys, so long as you are not reducing the salt, so long as you are not reducing the sugar, you are not changing the quantity of the product that is inside the jar, nor are you adding to it. So I am not going to add onions to my carrots because onions are a very low acid food. So now this recipe is formulated to be carrots, vinegar, water, sugar. If I add onions in there, now I am modifying that pH, and so the acidity is going to be off, and I may not have a safe product. I may not have a safe product for sneezing. I just resharpened all my knives. That was not a fun job. Yes, do get it. So, and if you guys have glass cutting boards, get rid of them. And use them for displays, but never use your knives on a glass cutting board. Nothing will dull your knife faster than a glass cutting board. That one I can attest to. I need 4 teaspoons of celery seed. Again, this is for flavor. And I got the wrong. So these are not dilled carrots. They're pickled because we have the vinegar and the sugar, but they're not dill. That's 2, that's 3, and that's 4. These are all just for flavor. So we're going to bring this to a boil. We're going to add our carrots. We're going to bring them back to a boil. Then reduce the heat to a simmer until they're half cooked, which is going to be about 10 minutes. And we'll start cutting up our green beans. We're going to put this here. We're going to get that out of our way. These are for my, I got the ones, those are for the green beans? I don't know. I haven't washed these, so I figured I better not use these. Even though, like I said, they're going in there for 10 full minutes, so I'm not too worried about that. So things that you can add. The biggest things that we don't recommend you add to your brines and stuff for whether you're doing pickles, particularly don't add certain things to salsas, and salsas are major critical on their measurements, is fresh herbs tend to get very slimy once they've been canned in a water bath canner. So you don't want things like slimy cilantro coming out of your salsa. If you're going to do your salsa and you want to add cilantro, open up your salsa, put it into a bowl, add your cilantro at the very end, and then it's going to taste a lot fresher. Yeah, nobody wants slimy cilantro. I opened up a jar once that we did for a practice thing, and we did it during class. We put in a couple sprigs of fresh cilantro and just stuffed them in the jar. Kind of like chop, just stuffed them in the jar of one particular jar. And then we waited, for a while, and then we opened them up, and they're just, it's like, one, it's not attractive. It doesn't taste bad. They turn black, and they're just not attractive at all. What does keep back saying? Depending on how you use it. Wooden boards. So what does the boil reboil do again? So what we're doing is carrots. These things are very, they're very, very dense. Okay. So one, we are blending our spices. So we're going to let these spices blend. The reason why we're cooking this for about 5 minutes is once this comes to a boil, those mustard seeds are very hard encapsulated seeds. This is something I went over with Logan when we were coming up with the recipe for the mustard for those boxes. This is, all right, you're doing good. So those mustard seeds, very, very hard and encapsulated. Air's inside there, okay? And if you don't cook them for a certain amount of time, you now have these air pockets inside there. So if you have, I just lost the word. It will come back to me. So our concern is botulism, okay? Because this is a food that's grown in the dirt and everything else. So if you've got these little itty bitty seeds that haven't been able to be cracked, get open, or get heat penetration in there, because air acts as an insulator, right? By not heating them up, just putting them into a water bath canner for 10 minutes is not going to be sufficient. Now what's going to happen is over time, as they sit on your shelf before you use them, they are going to soften in that vinegar. But there's no heat to kill any bacteria that may be inside of them at bay. So we want to make sure that we're bringing everything up to temperature, that everything's getting good heat penetration, that anything that is sealed and closed is now open so we can allow that viscosity to go inside there. Denise, dense and very sugary. Some things, so sugar, that's in your jams and jellies. So that's why if you don't like a lot of sugar in your jams and jellies, that's okay. You can do, there are what's called low or no sugar. Do I have some of those in here? Is this one? Yeah. So this is the pectin I use for my jams and jellies. You can see right up here. It's for low or no sugar. And the pectin will now act as the binder to make it set up. And pectin acts as a preservative. So if you take a regular pectin jam and it says you need to add 8 cups of sugar, that's going to be some sweet jam. That's going to be some really sweet jam. But you must follow the recipe because that pectin has been formulated to the amount of fruit that's being used and to the amount of sugar that's being used. So using these low, no sugar pectins, really good for help setting your product up. Otherwise, you have to do a long cook of jam. So why is a long cooked jam okay without having 8 cups of sugar? But my short cooked jam with my normal pectin has to have 8 cups of sugar. Concentration. So we have a high volume of product. We have to add a lot of sugar to get our pH where we need it to bring up the acidity level so that it can be shelf stable. But jams, if you take 10 cups of jam and you cook it for 4 hours, because you want to get it to a certain, because usually you'll get it, you'll put in a spoon. If you wipe the spoon and you get the trail, it's thick enough, or you do the freezer test. Well, now you've concentrated the natural sugars of the fruit to make it shelf stable. So yeah, there's a lot of different things that are happening that go on in canning. It's really kind of a unique science and everything. I'll be canning long after the stream's over. I got a lot of, this is one of 3 things I have of green beans. Lots of green beans. So on our green beans, we're making dilly beans, right? So we'll get a couple of these out. These have already been washed and cleaned. I'll use one of these jars as an example. So remember on our dilly beans, and we're doing the dilly beans from here, I think, is the one. This is the recipe I like. I just want to get the head space on the dilly beans. This is going to be a 1/2 inch head space, okay? I'm not adding peppers. You can add like yellow peppers or something like that. You can also, you can't add dry chilies. Remember, dry chilies have not been hydrated, so that's an air pocket. If you break that chili open, then you could. But we have to have a 1/2 inch head space. We all remember where the 1/2 inch is, right? It's on that second tine, where this tine meets this tine is a 1/2 inch. That's a little tall, right? That's like, So I want that to be, yeah, it's getting ready to boil already. I want that to be right about there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this off. I like to do mine flat side down because it sits up against the jar better, and the pointed side and the little pointed side up. So you got your flat end there, we got a little pointed side here. I'm going to stack them in the jar like this, and I'm going to put this in the jar right up against the edge. Can you guys see that okay? There we go. Can you guys see where I'm at that tine? It's at that, that glare is just crazy, isn't it? So this is now my measurement. I don't have to measure any of the other beans from this point on. I have this bean here. I can line all these up, get all my flat ends. Look at your beans. Make sure they don't have big... Oh, but that bean is not going to get wasted. This is not going to get wasted because we're going to have a lot of these. So now I can put these into the jar and have pieces of pickled dilly beans if I want. These will probably end up being dinner tonight. I'll probably just put them I'll probably blanch them for about 3 minutes and throw them in a pan with some brown butter and red pepper flakes, and that will be dinner. So I'm going to line all these up. I probably won't use real super crooked ones. One, you have to think about it. You're going to enter these into a fair. You want to make sure they're beautiful. So if these are all lined up, and there's all my points, and here's all my points, this is my measurement now. Remember, this is the one that we measured. We're going to line that one up there, and these are all going to get cut. So now these are all ready to go into my jar. We're just going to, oop, wrong way. I'm going to put these all inside my jar. And because that one's curved, now we're going to pack these in there tight. So I'm going to get these. Yes, okay, so I do judge for our local fair. I won't be judging this year, unfortunately. I don't have time to judge this year. But I will be judging for our local fair. And I have judged in the past for 4-H, which is really kind of fun. There's a lot of things I'm looking at when you bring your jar in for me. So if I'm there to judge your, it's like, I wish I had a fan blowing it in that direction. If I'm going to do your jar, and I don't think I have, I see all my home can jars I keep in my pantry out there, in my other big pantry. So if I'm going to judge your jar, one, I'm looking at what is the recipe that you used, because you have to provide the recipe that you used. So was that a safe, tested recipe that you used? Did you follow the directions? If the headspace says a 1/2 inch headspace, do I see a 1/2 inch headspace? Now most jars, when we store our jars, we put the lid on our jars, we put the flat lid on, we put our ring on, and we process. And then after we're done processing, we let them cool, we check our lid, the little divots down, we know they're safe. People put them on the shelf just like this. Take this ring off. Do not store your jars with this ring on. Just leave the flat part of the lid on. Then wash your jars, soap and water. You know, lukewarm water. You don't want, it doesn't have to be hot water. You don't want ice cold water, but just wash your jars, particularly when you're doing jams, particularly if you're doing fruits, pie fillings, tuna in particular. Wash the jars, okay? This is going to get all the detritus off of it. Tuna can smell, you know, I love the smell when I'm canning tuna. The house just smells amazing when the tuna is canning. But over time, you know, the cupboard can start to smell like tuna. It's like, I don't want that. So wash your jars with soap and water, but do not store with these lids. The reason for that, storing with a lid on can create what's known as a false seal. So what happens is if something bad is going to happen inside that jar, bacteria is growing. Maybe it's not even bacteria. Maybe there was a huge air pocket at the bottom that wasn't properly vented out and went bloop, and it pushed up against that lid and put pressure up against that lid. Jars can get too hot. Don't store your jars in an unfinished garage where your temperatures are 100 degrees. So if the lid is going to fail, where was my little fakey lid that I was playing with earlier? Oh, here we go. If the lid is going to fail, one, we want to make sure that little thing's going to pop up. And if you, I mean, I go into my cabinet all the time and I'll just just kind of test them. And before I even use it, I will open up, I will take the jar out of the pantry. Is the divot down? Is the lid on firm? So the jar of chicken stock that I had that went bad in 2018, the divot was down. But when I brought the jar in, I was like, okay, I tapped out, the divot was down, and I did like this, and the lid came off in my hand. So one good thing, we broke the anaerobic cycle was broken, right? Because the lid was compromised, so oxygen was able to get in there. But there's going to be stuff in there growing that I don't want. So rings off, don't stack your jars. Don't stack your jars on top of each other. If you're going to stack them, off-stack them. So if you're going to stack them in your cupboard, make sure you're stacking them like this. You need to have, you want this to fail. Because if there's something bad going on, you want that lid to fail. You don't want to go into your pantry and find out that everything is, the queen has spoken. Well, not the queen, but hopefully you guys are, okay, so this is starting to boil here. And we'll time that for 5 minutes. We're going to add all of our, and the reason why we're bringing our carrots up to boil, I don't know if I answered that question for you guys, is, oh, gosh dang it, every time I put this thing down, it resets itself. Probably need a new battery in there, or a new timer. We want to put the carrots inside there. So we're letting this boil for 5 minutes to crack those mustard seeds open, make sure they're completely heated through. Then we're going to add our carrots. Our carrots are cool because they were in the fridge and now they've been sitting out here for a while. These have to get in there. We want them to come to a full temperature and get almost cooked halfway through, because that's going to allow that, because 10 minutes in the water bath canner, these are not going to be cooked sufficiently in the middle. So we need to cook these partially through so that the rest of the cooking process in there happens, and then we know they've reached that safe temperature to kill any bacteria that's on there. But this is a little one, so I'm going to eat it. So what's really interesting about certain foods will completely change their appearance once they've been canned, particularly in pressure canning. Tuna looks like a science experiment. Let me grab a can of tuna for you guys. You guys can see a whole can of tuna. First time I saw one of these, I was like, whoa, that doesn't look natural. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, I love carrots. This is a can of tuna. You can see what it looks like. That water, that's liquid that came out of the tuna when it was canned. That's not liquid that I added to the tuna. We just put tuna in the actual jar. But does that not look like a pound of flesh? I said if people could see tuna in the tin cans in their grocery store, they'd probably never eat tuna again. I'm gonna have that for dinner tonight. I can about 60 pounds of tuna. It does, it looks awful, but it tastes amazing. All right. So we're going to let this boil. Oh, we only need to boil this 3 minutes. Even better. Even better. We're letting this boil, cracking those little seeds open, add the carrots, bring it back to a boil, cook them about 10 minutes. We're going to put them into the jars. I'm going to get this, turn this up a little tiny bit. So my camp stove is 30,000 BTUs. That means each burner is 15,000. Most of your canners in your instruction manual, so read your manual when you get your canner. Maybe you're getting something that's a heavier duty aluminum like an All-American canner versus a Presto canner versus a standard water bath, a stainless steel one, is you don't want them to be over, can you not do that over here? You don't want them to get over 15,000 BTUs, and you really don't want your canner to go over 20,000 BTUs or 10,000 BTUs because you can warp the bottom, it gets too hot. You guys want some of the vinegar smell over it? Yeah, so, and this runs off a propane tank, so I do have a propane tank sitting over here. There are some people that will tell you, you cannot have a propane tank inside your house. Sure you can. Just take safety precautions. I have a window there open, have a window there open, have my window here open. Propane is a liquid gas. Technically, if a pilot light goes out on my gas stove, well, this is a propane too, but most of you probably have natural gas, but if the pilot light goes out, the gas continues to rise. And upon ignition, you get the whoosh type thing. Well, propane, if the flame goes out and the gas is still going, it falls to the floor and it dissipates. So there you go. The more you know. I'm going to start cutting some more of these. Oop, I'll just leave those in there. I'll put my pieces in here. So these, like this is an ugly one. Oop. Always put stuff in away from you. Get it as low as you can to avoid splatter. And I'm going to turn that heat back up. Might take a minute or two for that to come back up to a boil. I don't know if you guys can see inside there right now. I'm going to try and move this. So there's our carrots, our mustard seeds. That's awfully bright from that light over there, isn't it? It's going to cook for 10 minutes. So the reason why it's going to cook for 10 minutes is that we know it takes approximately 10 minutes for the thickest of the carrots that's in here to get up to the 212. So it can finish off its cooking process, finish its cooking process. You guys see this one? See this ugly? I'm not going to use that one. That's a nasty one to use. We don't want to use that one. Matter of fact, I'm not going to cook dinner with that one. You will get out of your product, your canned product, what you put into it. So if you're putting in cheap ingredients, if you're putting in ugly ingredients, you're going to get an ugly product, and you're probably not going to be real happy with it. So on pickling, I forgot to mention, do not use aluminum. Only use stainless steel, plastic or wood, but do not use aluminum or iron. You'll get a really weird tannic taste because of the reaction to the metal. So to put those down, let's line those up. You might have to adjust some of these as you trim them. These I do not have to boil first, which is really nice. Because they're very, I usually let that sit on its side while I'm doing this. I'm trying to get some that are like the same thickness. You know, we want them to be uniform. Oh, I was talking about jars when I do the canning do the judging of the jars. So I'm looking at the recipe. I don't taste people's foods in the jars because I don't know how clean their kitchen is. I don't know if they have pets. I don't know anything about their environment. So I don't taste foods. But I will open up jams and jellies, and I will take a plastic knife to make sure that it's jam consistency. I make sure that jelly moves. I might scoop a little bit out onto a plate and see that it's got that nice little warble on there. I will look for headspace. I want to make sure that they're using the right headspace. I'm looking at color. I'm looking at their food. Do they have a lot of blemishes? on their food. We don't want to see a lot of blemishes. I'm also going to get some of these ready too. Due to time to dip out. Oh, Hungry Wolf, thank you so much for popping by. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful stream. What are you making today on stream? Oop, my trash can's not there. I just want to get these ready so I can cut these up. I think he is already dipped out. No dipping. I think the recipe I'm doing for the dilly beans is 4 as well. I'll finish doing the rest of my carrots and all kind of stuff after. I'm not going to make you guys watch all of my stuff. I mean, if you want to sit and watch all of the canning, you can. We can. You're never asking too many questions. I would rather you ask 100 questions and get the knowledge and the information that you need to be successful than to not ask questions and then look it up on a site that's not reliable. So if you guys are doing a search for searching for how to can certain things, if you don't go to one of the sites I mentioned, at least make sure you're only searching sites that end in edu. So if you do site, S-I-T-E, if you type it out like this, like site:.edu space, if you're typing it out, don't click on that though. If you're typing it like that and do a space and then say pickled green beans, you're only going to get university sites. So you're going to get extension sites and sites that are using the safe and tested recipes. Just want to see if these are all going to fit and how they're going to look. Chef Eva B coming in with her family. Hello. Hello. Thank you so very much for bringing your family over here to hang out with my fam. Raiders, we are canning. We're doing some food safety stuff today. I'm teaching a class on how you can make pickled green beans and pickled carrots. So thank you so much for coming in. The Oak King coming in. Zinker. Thank you guys for those follows. I appreciate that. If you're new to my stream, if you click on my logo right down here, or if you refresh your browser, that will bring you directly into my stream. So that really helps my thing. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Cerise, for giving Chef a shout out over there. How did your stream go? What did you stream today? Oh, I'm moving those out of the way and I'm not looking at my... What was your stream about today? I want the deets. The green beans are going to be delicious. They're going to be amazing. Oh, those are too small. I don't want those either. Well, that one I can put in there. I don't know why my alerts aren't going off. I'm very sorry. Made some apricot mustard glazed chicken and ooh. Oh, we did bacon jam not too long ago too. Is that not the best stuff ever? Take that, go get yourself a wheel of brie cheese, cut the top off, heat up your brie until, and then put some of that bacon jam on the top of that and then put it underneath your broiler and let it caramelize with some crackers. Oh my gosh. Yes, I will definitely take some of that. Although I can't eat brie cheese much anymore, unless I can get some goat brie cheese, and that's pretty good stuff. I can do that. Okay, these are almost getting ready to boil. So what we're doing right now is that we're working on, these are baby carrots. We're bringing them up to temperature, so we're going to let them simmer for about 10 minutes in the brine. And after they simmer for 10 minutes, we're going to put them into our jars. And then we're going to process them in a water bath for 15 minutes. Oh, wait, was this my, did I get rid of my measuring one? Was this my measuring one? No. Guys, I got rid of my measuring one. It was a perfect, I'm going to use, I'll just be using this one now. Can't believe I did that. Can't believe I did that. Oh, I really wish I could have, I do miss having dairy. I will say I really do miss that. But that's all right. You know, you learn to compensate, you learn to eat other things. So I can't complain too much. There's a lot of other wonderful things out there that I can eat. That one's probably long enough already. Come on. Wait, is that light not on? What the heck? I can't tell if that. Wow, that actually turned off. What the heck? Uh-oh. That's not good. I wonder if it got too hot with the pan sitting on top of it. You just never know. You just never know what's going to happen in this crazy, wacky world of food streaming, pickling, canning. Has anybody here made pickled green beans? Has anybody here made their own pickles? Remember, we've got to be very critical on our size here. We want to make sure they're all going to fit in the jar and be at that proper headspace. Not a pickle person? Open tops at the top. Oh, these green beans though, not sure about that burner. Well, yeah, that burner's not my, that's just a, normally I cook over there, but I don't like to have my back to people. I'm heading to Pickletown. Where's Pickletown? I'm planning on making my own pickle things soon. Chris, let me know what you're getting ready to make. We'll make sure that everything's going good for you. How about that? Okay, so that is definitely boiling. I'm going to wait for this to go. Should have started all this sooner, but I had so much stuff I had to tell you guys first. I had so much stuff I had to go over. So flavorings, by the way, if you guys use dry spices, dry herbs, rosemary is one that comes through really strong. Oregano, wow, oregano will. So the longer, if you're using dry herbs, when you add dry herbs to canned food, and before you can up, so let's say I want oregano carrots, so I'm going to add some oregano. A little bit goes a long way because over time, as it sits on the shelf, those spices get stronger and stronger and stronger. So you can get some really strong spices in there. I just done the fake quick pickles. So are you doing? Because see, what a lot of people think of as quick pickles is put them in a jar and cover them up with vinegar and let them set in the fridge, or put them in a bowl and let them set on your counter. Pickled onions, pickled little cucumber slices and stuff. You can do refrigerator pickles and whatever. I'm just going to line all the. Oh, I did it again. I almost got rid of my sample. I wish I could grow vegetables and say, I want you to grow exactly to 4 inches. That one's got a weird mark on it. We're not going to use that one. Sometimes on green beans, you will see what's called green bean rust. And it'll literally look like little rust spots on your green beans. Usually when you cook them, that completely cooks out. It's not harmful. It's caused by overhead watering or overhead irrigation. But it's not something that will make you sick. It just doesn't look very attractive. Oh, pickled peppers are fantastic. You can do pickled jalapenos. You can do like the banana peppers. I'm just trying to get these lined up so the bottoms all match up, because we want them to all fit in the jar the way they should. And I don't want to be spending a lot of time recutting them, All right. Here's our timer. I am going to keep stirring these off and on. A lot of times you don't have to stir them, but I want the ones that are on the outside edge to get into the middle. That's where the, you know, the main burner is in the heat. So we want all that heat to get through there. Oh, thank you, Chris. I appreciate you coming in so much today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And do reach out to me when you get ready to pickle or what you want to pickle or can, and we'll make sure you've got really good recipes and you'll be locked and loaded. Can we get another shout out for Chris, please? And Hungry Wolf too, because Hungry Wolf said that he had to go stream too. All the love. You're not on a New York Times issue. I know. I can, you know, I could, for, I don't like those two. For Thanksgiving, what I'm thinking about doing is just turning on the camera. My daughter hopefully will be up here then too. Turning on the camera, probably just muting the mic, and you all can just watch me prep a massive Thanksgiving dinner because it's just so riveting. That's what everybody wants to do on Thanksgiving, Kanara, is watch you cook. Not be with their family and cook their own Thanksgiving dinner. No, I know y'all want to be here. I know y'all want to be here. The European people would probably be here because you guys don't have the Thanksgiving that we have over here. Excuse me. Queen Sugar Buns! Queen Sugar Buns. Pour some sugar on me. It's Queen Sugar Buns. Pour some sugar on me. It's Queen Sugar Buns. That's all I have so far. It's a work in progress. I'm really excited. On August 4th, I'll be streaming for Direct Relief, so I'll have a lot of that information in the Discord. So if you guys do !menu, I have the other Discord link I don't think is working, but I will have my Discord link is in, I picked it up today. Danny! It's 10 p.m. and the sun is still shining. It's Kanara. No, Danny. No, it is you, Danny. You are it. You are the cat's meow. You are the soul of the universe. This is very caustic in the throat when you inhale this. There's the Discord. So do join the Discord. I'll be talking about the fundraiser thing that we're going to do. I don't do a lot of fundraisers. I do a lot of my charity stuff on my own. There's a lot of people out there doing charity drives, and I don't like to beat a dead horse. So they're doing wonderful work out there, so I'm letting them go to it. But this is one that I really do get behind. It's Direct Relief. They're a really good humanitarian organization. So I'll be talking more about that come August, on August 4th, and I'll be doing a charity stream for that. And the boxes, if you guys do the ! Oktoberfest, I think we already talked about that. The boxes for the Oktoberfest, it has all the fixins in there for you to make your own pretzels. And I will have recipes in there for mustard. I think they have the recipe in there for mustard. If not, I'll have it in my Discord, no big deal. And all the proceeds that they're making off those boxes, like I said, they're donated to the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. And then we, as ambassadors, we do get a $5 per box, and I am donating my proceeds to a local food bank, and I am matching anything I make. I will match and send into the local food bank. So lurk mode activated, Danny. Lurk mode activated. I know, so many green beans. And I will say that's part of the, I don't want to say downside of canning, because I enjoy it. I mean, I enjoy the whole thing of it, the prepping, the going out and picking them, I like it all. I don't like that green bean either. So for me, it's the whole kit and caboodle. But you don't have to, if you're tired of standing, you don't have to stand at the counter. You could be sitting down over there and just cutting up all your green beans, get them all cut. You can cut them up the day before and then put them in the refrigerator, cover them with a damp paper towel. And then the next day it doesn't have to be, oh man, I did it again. I did it again, dang it. Is this the one here? Yes, okay. I wish I could dye that one a different color so I know which one. That's a hard one to measure out. Or is it this one? That's okay. Yeah, I enjoy the whole process. To me, it's therapeutic, you know? It's a fun thing to do. I get excited when I see my pantries fill up with my canned food. When I see my green beans going in there, when I see my tuna going in there. I do my own potatoes. I need to get some more potatoes to can. I didn't grow potatoes this year. But I need to get some more potatoes. Potatoes, potatoes, potatoes. Tomatoes, tomatoes. And I will say this, potatoes, a lot of people think, why are you canning potatoes? They're great when you're camping. If you want a quick meal, you know, you're coming home, man, you just open up a can of potatoes, open up a can of, well, we'll say chicken meatballs that you can, right? And then you got your can of tomatoes, maybe a can of green beans. You got a casserole. Vomiting goose. Potatoes grow good in Oregon. You know, and I've grown them in the past. I've grown, what's the German yellow ones called? I can't remember what the German yellow ones are called. I've done fingerling, I've done the Yukons. The only one I did not have real good luck with to get them larger was russets. But all the more waxy ones, they did really, really good. I was pretty impressed. I do a different, I get potato growing bags. I don't do you can do the thing with the tires where you start with one tire, you put the potato starch, which is just the potatoes with the eyes down. Or is it eyes up? It's eyes up. Yeah, eyes up. And then when the potatoes get like about this tall, you add another tire, you put more soil in, only leaving a few of the leaves at the top. You keep doing that. And then by the time you get all done, the potatoes on the bottom, well, it's hard to get to the potatoes on the bottom without taking the whole thing apart. So I buy these potato bags, which have like doors through intervals, so you can reach in and feel for the potatoes.